Welcome back to another edition of Grizzlies Daily. I'm your host Malik, and day one of the NBA draft is finalized. Now, as far as the Grizzlies goes, we already saw what happened. If you don't know, the 16th overall pick was traded to Portland for the Grizzlies to move up to that 11th spot, where they ended up taking Cedric Coward in the first round, like we talked about earlier before the draft. That the Grizzlies were key on this guy. They felt that he was part of the future plans and he would fit well with the team. And they went after him and they made sure they got him. This is one of the few times that we see the Grizzlies actually move up in the draft. So it was definitely surprising to see. I was like, okay, we're moving up, and I guess they felt that Cedric Coward was rising highly on people's draft boards, and that's how it ended up happening with that decision to um, go ahead and trade for him. Now, the only thing about it is the Grizzlies did give up a bit for the ability to move up 5 spots, but I think when you're in a win now mode, those picks don't really matter right now. Like to me, I think the Grizzlies are well without those picks. They're not gonna regret any. I don't think they'll regret them. But we already talked about Cedric Coward. Um, he only played about 6 games at Washington State, but great story from the guy. He started off in D3 basketball, then transferred to the Big Sky, and then ended up transferring to Washington State, where he had a pretty good year for the games that he played. And then he was actually set to transfer to Duke this year, but backed out of it after having a pretty good combine. I think that's what allowed people to really see that he is capable of being on an NBA team. So when I see something like that, I see something like that, just at least the path of the draft, like the last year from thinking about staying and then ended up going based off a good combine. I think that's kind of how it was for GG Jackson. Even though GG was a high prospect, it just stayed. There was some problems going on in the program when he was at South Carolina. But a lot of people from the draft reception that I was at, a lot of people loved the pick. I like the pick. A lot of people were in love with the pick. They like this guy. I looked at some of his comparisons. I saw comparisons to Kawhi Leonard. So very good defensive player. 3 point shot, it's there, but it's not like a sharpshooter level. So I think you make a good replacement for Desmond Bain when it comes to the size factor and the defense factor. The shoot him, no, definitely still gonna have to get someone else to come in for that. But I like him. He got a nice frame. I like his mentality a lot. Like his mentality a lot. Seems like he wants to play alongside a guy like Jalen Wells, considering they went to the same college. So that's a good sign right there. And really, the only downside to him is just well, in my opinion, from what I saw, the only downside that I had to him is really just making sure he stays healthy. That season-ending shoulder injury was a big concern for me when I saw his draft profile. But yeah, as long as he stays healthy, I think he has potential to grow into a great player. Now, when it comes to that shoulder, we were told that from Coward himself that his shoulder is healing. He feels that his shoulder is healed. So summer league starts in about 2-3 weeks. There's a good possibility we'll see Cedric Coward playing in the summer league. So shout out to Cedric Coward. Can't wait to have him on the team. Probably gonna love his game. I was in love with the film, so really gonna love seeing what he brings to the Memphis Grizzlies and just the energy that he brings as a young guy. Making a spot on the team and just overall doing what he can to make the team better. It seems like he's decided to play here, so that's always good in my book right there. Now let's talk about the division that he's gonna be playing in because if you don't know, this division, the Southwest Division, has gotten a lot better. It's gotten a lot better, which isn't necessarily a good sign for the Grizzlies, but that's just where we're at right now. So obviously at number one, Dallas Mavericks take Cooper Flag. At number two, Spurs take Dylan Harper. And then at number seven, the Pelicans take Jeremiah Fears out of Oklahoma. He's a guard out of Oklahoma. And then just lottery wise, Carter Brown was taken by the Spurs at 14. Looking at what the other teams did, Asa Newell was drafted. He was originally drafted by the Pelicans, but I believe he was traded to Atlanta. So I believe that's that. Yes, he was traded to Atlanta. Um, and then yeah, that was pretty much it for the division. So when it comes to who got better, it's easy to say the Pelicans got better because the Pelicans are kind of overhauling their roster. So I'm not going to include them, but just the teams that are already that been kind of working to get better. The Dallas Mavericks, obviously Cooper Flag. I don't need to say any much more. Got to watch out for him. Got to watch out for him. He's one of the best prospects we've seen in a long time. I think he's going to pan out to be a great player. I just hope the media doesn't overhype him too much, but I think he'll come out to be a great player. Now, Dylan Harper and Carter Bryant for the Spurs. Obviously, Dylan Harper, he's one of those ones. I saw him at Rutgers, and he's pretty good. He's pretty good. I can't lie. Definitely somebody to watch out for because, I mean, I don't know what it is with the Spurs. The Spurs develop great talent. I mean, Stephon Castle was, man, he was killing the Grizzlies every chance he got. So see if they can develop Stephon Castle and then develop Dylan Harper into a rookie of the year kind of player, then the Spurs are definitely going to be a team to watch out for. They already got Wemby and Fox. Now they have a whole year to figure all that out. So definitely something to watch out for. Yeah, honestly, those are the teams that scare me the most, other than the Rockets, of course, who actually ended up getting. No, I'm sorry, he didn't. They didn't end up getting. They traded their pick to Phoenix, and Phoenix ended up getting the center from Duke. So a lot to really process what's going on here. If I'm being honest, a lot to process what's going on exactly with that division. So definitely something we'll have to be on the lookout. But this division is going to be easy, especially for a team like the Grizzlies, who's in their championship window right now. So it's definitely going to be something that Memphis is definitely they're going to have some competition this year. That's just goes without saying. They're going to have some competition this year. Now, obviously, we have day 2 of the draft left. Obviously, if you don't know, the Grizzlies have trying to pull it up right here, but I believe they have the 48th and the 56th overall picks. No word on those picks being moved, so that's just something that kind of keep an eye on right there. The picks aren't expected to be moved. We already talked about a few people that the Grizzlies were discussing. The Grizzlies were discussing picking up with those picks, and honestly, with them, I don't hate the players. I'm trying to pull up right now. I believe one of the players was I believe it was Micah Peavy with the 48th pick. I have it pulled up right here. It's an ESPN mock draft. ESPN has it projected that Micah Peavy be selected at 48, which I gotta be honest, I don't really know too much on Micah Peavy, but I just know that he went to Georgetown and he's an okay shooter. An okay shooter, not really a 3-point shooter, but he's an okay shooter at most. I think if the Grizzlies get somebody like him, they're definitely getting him for, honestly, probably just the scoring aspect. I mean, there's nothing in his game that really like sticks out to me as a need guy. He's got a bit of a turnover problem from what I saw, so I don't know how I feel necessarily about the Grizzlies getting that, but I also don't think he has like a spot that's gonna be on the team next year where he's gonna be playing crucial minutes. I doubt that. And obviously with the 56th pick, they have the Grizzlies projected to get Hunter Salas from Wake Forest. Once again, I really got nothing for him. Honestly, I think if there's a world where the Grizzlies really want, I think if the Grizzlies really want to make noise in the second round, there's a guy who played in the G League, and I remember seeing him in the Rising Stars Challenge, and he was balling. I'm trying to think of his name. It was Dink Pate. Dink Pate is a guy that I would love to see in a Grizzlies uniform. I feel like his development is making major waves, and honestly, it's making very good progress in how they decide to move forward. If he was to be on the Grizzlies, so I think if the Grizzlies can find a way to get Dink Pate, because he's very athletic, he's got a great jumper, great defense. I've seen this guy play, and it is out of this world. So I think they get a guy like Dink Pate over who they're projected to get. I think we're talking a different ball game right here. But time can only tell. Day two of the draft. It's I'm not gonna say it's a throwaway part because we've seen late round talent that has blossomed. Obviously, you got GG, Vince, just to name a few late rounders. I mean, you can even consider Jalen Wells a late rounder. A lot of these guys develop very well in the Grizzlies system because the Grizzlies are a very good team that can develop. So it's definitely something to watch out for. Definitely something to watch out for. I'm here for it, so I got nothing to say about it. I'm only time can tell. I mean, I don't really know what happens with those picks, but we just have to wait and see, honestly. And obviously, with the draft selection of Cedric Coward, one would have to think because of the position that he's in and the high praise that Jeremy Zach Kleiman gave Cedric Coward. One would have to think who's next for the Grizzlies to be shipped out. And the reason I say that is because listening to Zach Kleiman talk about the future after the draft pick, it's a clear indicator that the Grizzlies are not done. They're not done making moves. Somebody is going to get moved once again. And honestly, I think personally, they're already exploring possibilities for a sign and trade for Santi, and there's word going around that possibly Vince or Gigi would be those ones that could possibly be shipped out. Now the reason being obviously because there are other talent out of there that if you want to win now, the Grizzlies have to absolutely go after it. Now we've mentioned a few names like Trey Murphy, Devin Booker, RJ Barrett, just to name a few, but I mean I feel like priority number one should be a Trey Murphy type player. Originally, it was Jonathan Kuminga, but I'm not hearing anything about Jonathan Kuminga and possibly talks with Memphis and Golden State. So that's kind of in the back of our heads right now. But if they can go after a Trey Murphy kind of player and somehow get him without giving up too much, I think it's perfectly fine. I think the Grizzlies would be a perfectly fine team. Now, obviously, one thing I'm not seeing the Grizzlies do that's really concerning me is the big man position. I'm not seeing anything being done about that. I expected to see a pick for that in the draft, but I obviously Cedric Coward he was priority number one. So hopefully, maybe in the draft I say hopefully, honestly, hopefully in the off season towards free agency, we make a trade or we sign a guy that is a proven center in the league that can definitely help the team and space the floor out, get those rebounds, and play the defense that we need without fouling. So I'm starting to get a little concerned when it comes to that position. But other than that, I like the direction that the team is going. It's definitely setting things up for the year after next. Because if I'm being honest, going into this year right now, I don't think the Grizzlies are going to make the noise that we are expecting them to make. I think you kind of you got to let these guys play around each other for the first time, really get a feel for it. Kind of like how Oklahoma City was. I mean, look at last year, Oklahoma City. They were a number one seed, but they got bounced in the second round because they didn't really have the experience needed to win those kinds of games. And then fast forward a year later, they end up winning the championship. So it takes time. It takes time. And obviously, this is just all hypothetical, but it takes time. So we just got to trust the process and let the GMs do what GMs do and let the players play. It's just as simple as that. But that's all I got today for this edition of Grizzlies Daily. This is after day one of the draft, so day two happening later today. And obviously, I'm going to have that video ready for you guys bright and early in the morning. So be on the lookout for that. If you like this video, make sure to like it and subscribe. Turn on the post notifications so you can get notified when we upload. Like I said, it's going to be bright in the morning, so be on the lookout for that. And that's for this edition of Grizzlies Daily. I'm your host, Malik, and I'm signing off.